Hello again. It can be very tempting for students to practice their forms at speed. This can happen when a student starts to become comfortable with a form. And it's natural that students might want to impress their instructor and perhaps even impress themselves. However, speed is not what forms are for. So what are they for? Traditionally, forms are about passing on techniques that had been proven effective in combat by previous generations. Today, as practitioners of traditional Chinese martial arts, we're not training to fight in Ming Dynasty wars. We're not training to maim and kill. Even so, we should understand clearly that this is what the techniques in our forms were for. Otherwise, we're only pretending to practice martial arts. Otherwise, our forms are just cosplay. So while we should hope never to apply the techniques we practice, it's important to understand what the techniques are for. Without that understanding, we cannot be certain that we're executing them properly. So how do forms train us to execute techniques properly? From the instant we assume the initial position until we return to that position to close the form, we must be single-minded in our intent. No distractions. If the purpose of a movement is to break someone's arm, then you must have the intent to achieve that outcome when you practice the movement. Up to a point, intent will make up for poor technique, but perfect technique will never make up for a lack of intent. You can always identify the cosplayers. Don't be distracted by how fancy their movements might look to you. Look in their eyes and you will see the lack of intent. Then look at their movements again and you will see that lack of intent expressed in everything they do. The very first position in all our Wuzuquan forms is the neutral Uji position. It teaches us the importance of simply standing up straight. Without good posture, we cannot execute any technique well. Good posture aids in the transfer of power from the core to the limbs, since it aligns the skeleton, ligaments, tendons, muscles, and fascia. Good posture facilitates smooth movement since it optimizes our balance. Good posture facilitates correct breathing since it reduces pressure on the lungs and abdomen. Wuzuquan, as it was taught by the late Master Chi Kim Tong, is an internal system. As I've explained before, this basically means that we generate force in the core and not in the chest, shoulders, and arms. Generating power in the core requires specific abdominal exercises to develop the muscles and coordination needed. This is the second thing we learn in our forms, and harnessing the core is the very first movement in all our forms. And throughout our forms, we learn to transfer that power from the core to the weapons that will deliver the force. Indeed, this is the third thing we learn in our forms. Regardless of how good your posture is and how strong a core you have, if your base is unstable, everything is unstable. Stance training is not about what your stances look like. A person with a short body and long legs will not look the same as a person with a long body and short legs. Stance training is about rooting your position solidly at the moment of power generation and delivery to minimize power leaks. Forms allow us to drill our stances to ensure that whatever the technique, the platform that launches it is solid. If you doubt the importance of stance training, try hitting a heavy bag while lifting your toes or sticking your knees out. Quite simply, the better you are rooted at the moment you need to generate and deliver force, the more efficiently and effectively you will apply that force. Whether that force is needed to move yourself from one position to another, move your opponent, or strike your opponent. This is basic physics. If you are unstable, consider yourself dead. Of course, to be effective in combat, you cannot remain rooted into position the whole time. You need to be able to move smoothly from one rooted position to another. As I've already covered in a series of videos dedicated to this topic, forms are essential in teaching us how to transition. If you're static, consider yourself dead. One of the biggest mistakes you can make in training is a lack of precision. The root of this problem is a lack of intent. A simple word for this is sloppiness. Precision is key. Precision applies to all of the points I've mentioned so far. Intent, posture, harnessing the core, stance, transitions. If you execute them imprecisely, you minimize your overall efficiency and effectiveness. But precision is not just about targeting. While it is important to be able to hit targets precisely, precision is also about executing your techniques correctly. Hitting the target is not much good to you if your strike is ineffective. If you're imprecise, consider yourself dead. Speed is the enemy of precision. I don't just mean speed in training. I also mean speed in combat. Yes, it is better to be faster than your opponent. But in general, I would say it's even better to be more efficient and more effective than your opponent. If you rush your forms, you will sacrifice precision. And then sloppiness will become your habit. However, if you focus on precision, you will become more efficient overall, and that will increase your speed. As the United States Navy SEALs say, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And they should know a thing or two about training for combat. Most forms last at least a minute. It's very unlikely that you would ever need to sustain speed for that long in a fight. So practicing at speed for an entire form makes no sense to me. And the longer the form goes on, the more imprecise you'll get as you tire yourself. Instead, you should select a short combination of movements that you already perform precisely. You may select a sequence from a form or make up your own combination. Repeat that sequence many times, starting at the speed at which you already perform it precisely. Slowly increase the speed, keeping your mind focused on maintaining precision. As soon as you sense that something is not quite right, slow down until your movement is precise again. Never go faster than your level of precision allows. Taking this approach, you will build speed naturally while maximizing efficiency and effectiveness. Thanks for watching.